Before we begin, stop. Check and make sure you have your materials, your notes, a pencil, and a highlighter. If you need to grab something, pause the video now. And remember, if you don't understand something, write a question mark next to it in your notes so we can talk about it in class tomorrow. Let's start with our vocabulary words. Our first word is difference, and difference means the answer to a subtraction equation. Equation is just a fancy math way of saying a problem or a number sentence. Our next word is inverse operations, and that means opposite operations, like addition and subtraction. You can use addition to check a subtraction problem, and you can use subtraction to check an addition problem. So let's talk about how to subtract. Our first step is to start with the smallest place value, which will normally be our ones place. So if we look at 78 minus 48, we look at our ones place, 8 minus 8, and if the number's the same, 0 is the game. So 8 minus 8 equals 0. Then we can do our tens, 7 minus 4 equals 3. If we had 56 minus 32, we look at our ones place, 6 minus 2, there's more on top, so no need to stop. So 6 minus 2 equals 4. Then we go to our tens place, 5 minus 3 equals 2. 64 minus 27, we look at our ones place, 4 minus 7, there's more on the floor, that means our bottom number is bigger, so we go next door and get 10 more. And that's called borrowing, and we're going to talk about how to do that in just a moment. Then we're going to repeat these steps for each place value, remembering to move from the smallest place value to the largest place value. And our final step is to check your answer with addition. So let's look at how to borrow. If I have 473 minus 294, I start in my ones place, 3 minus 4. And I know that there's more on the floor, so I'm going to have to go next door and get 10 more. I can't take away 4 from 3. So I go to my tens place, and I have 7 tens. And I can get rid of one of those tens, and I can change it into 10 ones. So now I have 6 tens, and I can add my 3 ones plus 10 ones for 13 ones. So I can change the 3 into a 13. Then I subtract 13 minus 4, and that leaves me with 9. Next, I move to my tens place. 6 tens minus 9 tens. Again, there's more on the floor, so I have to go next door and get 10 more. So I go to my hundreds place, and I take 100, and I turn it into 10 tens. That leaves me with 3 hundreds, and then I have 6 tens plus 10 tens for 16 tens, so I can change my tens place to a 16. Then I subtract 16 minus 9, and that leaves me with 7 tens. Then I move to my hundreds place, 3 minus 2, that's more on top, no need to stop. So I take away 2 hundreds, and that leaves me with 100. So I get a difference of 179. And my last step is to check my answer with addition. So I take my difference, 179, then I add the number I subtracted, plus 294. I start in my ones place. 9 plus 4 is 13. We leave the 3 in the ones place, carry 1. 1 plus 7 plus 9 is 17. So I put a 7 in the tens place, carry 1. 1 plus 1 plus 2 is 4. So I put a 4 in the hundreds place, 473. And since I got the same thing I started with, I know I got the right answer. Here's another example when we have to borrow across a zero. If I'm subtracting 505 minus 229, I have 505, I start in my ones place, 5 minus 9. More on the floor, so I have to go next door and get 10 more. But when I look at my neighbor, the neighbor is a 0. I can't borrow from him. So instead, I have to look at my bigger neighbor, 50. And I can think of that 50 as 50 tens. And I can take one of those tens and turn it into my 10 ones. So now I have 49 tens. And I move the 10 ones over. And then I can add it up. 5 plus 10 equals 15. So that 5 becomes a 15. Then I subtract my 9, and that leaves me with 6 ones. Then I go to my tens place. 9 tens minus 2 tens. I take away 2 tens, That leaves me with 7. Then my hundreds place, 4 hundreds minus 2 hundreds leaves me with 200. So I get a difference of 276. And again, I check with addition. So I take my difference, 276, and I add the number I subtracted, 229. 6 plus 9 equals 15. Put a 5 in the ones, carry 1 to the tens. 1 plus 7 plus 2 equals 10. So I put a 0, and I carry 1 to the hundreds. And 1 plus 2 equals 5, so I get a sum of 505, which is my original number, so I know that I subtracted correctly. Let's look at a couple more examples. 386 minus 123. I start in my ones place. 6 minus 3, there's more on top, so no need to stop. 6 minus 3 equals 3. Then I move to my tens place. 8 minus 2, again, more on top, no need to stop. 8 minus 2 equals 6. Then in my hundreds, 3 minus 1 equals 2, so I get a difference of 263. One more example. 649 minus 152. I start in my ones place. 9 minus 2, there's more on top, no need to stop. 9 minus 2 equals 7. Then I move to my tens place. 4 minus 5, there's more on the floor, the 5 is bigger, so I have to go next door and get 10 more. So I go to my hundreds place, and the 6 becomes a 5, and then I can add 10 to the 4. 4 plus 10 equals 14, and then I change the 4 into a 14, and I subtract 5, and that gives me 9. Then I look at my hundreds place. 5 minus 1 equals 4, so I get a difference of 497. Now you try. Answer the 2 questions on your notes and remember your subtraction rules. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, 0's the game. More on the floor, go next door and get 10 more.